Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Is it evening?
It is here.
Okay.
It might be being posted on the morning times, but there is artificial light on us at the moment, so it's
I'm in
nighttime.
PJs.
You are in PJs.
Good job, me.
But we're filming a video.
We are, finally.
What? Did we do that booktube thing for a while?
A little bit of time.
Just a little bit. Amanda Center tagged us in the autumn reading tag. It was created by Amy Jane Smith. We will put her link down below, as well as Amanda's link down below. Thank you, Amanda, for tagging us, because we were actually talking about it right when you posted it, that we needed to do a tag. So you handed it to us on a silver platter.
And then we watched it and we were like, oh, we could do this. And then we went to the end and we were tagged and we were like, we should do this.
The first question is, are there any books you plan on reading in the autumn season? The first one might be a bit of a plug. We will be reading Let Me In by John Ajvide Lindqvist. Swedish. I don't speak this. I should probably do that so that I can at least pronounce it properly. Lindqvist. Swedish vampire books, slow murder mystery type thing. We're reading it for Bibliomancy. Hopefully we can do a Halloween stream of this, although we will be working all day Halloween, so maybe a midnight Halloween stream. Ooh, spooky.
Another book that Michaela and I also both plan on reading, which is what we're focusing on here, by the way, not like we don't have a million things to read, is The Book of Strange New Things by Michael Faber. This is Michaela's copy, but she was also nice enough to buy me one for my birthday. So this is our Pop Sugar pick for a romance set in the future. And, I mostly just wanted to read it because Michaela said that it looked good. But, yeah. Hopefully a review of this coming in the autumn season, ? There may be snow on the ground. We don't know. We don't know. So the second question is, September brings back school memories. What book did you most enjoy studying? And what were your favorite and least favorite school subjects?
For me, and in fact for both of us, we're going to be discussing books by one professor that we both had. Gretchen was much closer with him than I was. Professor Chris Holmes. If you're watching, maybe. He had us study Watchmen. And yes, guys, in an English class, we studied a graphic novel. Not only in a English class, but maybe the hardest English class / the most confusing English class that all of us had to take.
We took it different semesters. I had it the first semester, she had it the second semester, and her semester was actually easier than my semester. So... is that,
but still not easy. Leaps and bounds easier than yours, but
yeah.
But still something that was mind-wrenchingly horrible at times.
Yeah, but then the one that I used the most throughout the rest of my 4 years.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, it was important.
Plus minus.
Yep. There we are.
Plus Chris is awesome
because he's the
so
smartest
person in the world.
And you're like, guy will never be that smart. I wish I was that smart, but yes, we all know how I feel about the graphic novels. Watchmen is one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. I actually had a copy of this before we studied it. I really liked the way that we were able to discuss visual imagery and metaphor in this, rather than just figurative language.
So every time I go to answer one of these questions, I kind of answer with the first thing that comes to mind, because I loved school in general, and I studied a lot of good books. But one of the most fascinating to study was, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, was in my senior year. I took a class with Chris on J.M. Kutseya and Kazuo Ishiguro, and I loved Kazuo Ishiguro, leaps and bounds over J.M. Kutseya, but the most interesting book we studied was J.M. Kutseya's Diary of a Bad Year. And this book, I wish that I had my copy so badly to show you guys, but it's still at my house. But it's 3 different storylines at once, but they're all shown on the page and separated by vertical lines. So you have the choice to either go through the book and read one story and then go back and read it that way, or you can try and read all of them at the same time, and they do connect, and it's mind-blowingly crazy. So that was really great. Unfortunately, no one in my class really wanted to discuss it all that much, because they were like, this is confusing, and I was like, ah! But anyways, that's my story. What were your least and favorite school subjects?
Least favorite, probably history. I'm not because I disliked history, but because the way that my brain works doesn't coalesce with the way that tests in history work here. I completely understand the historical events, and I really liked learning about time periods and stuff, but I had a really hard time taking tests where I needed to, like, have a certain person's name and a certain date specifically memorized and, like, the names of things. That didn't matter to me. Like the more general, mushy idea around stuff, totally loved. Didn't like taking tests, so I kind of hated history because I was one of those kids that wanted to get good grades and everything, and it kept me from that. Favorite class? Art class. One of those nerds that did art stuff, and I'm also one of those nerds that when I finished all of my work in my classes, I would ask to go to the art room to do more art, so... Yeah, art class was my favorite class. Got to draw, got to like relax for a hot minute and just focus on things like drawing a bunch of electrical cables or a pretty painting that's now upstairs in our house.
My least favorite subject, hands down, was math. I have dyscalculia, which is like the numbers form of dyslexia, which means that like I can read numbers and write numbers and I understand all of it, but I don't always write it out the right way or understand the problem in the correct manner. And it's super frustrating, and also I just don't like math. I don't like numbers. I like words. So my most favorite subject was, of course, English. If you want me to read a book, talk about it, write a thing, sign me up. I'm there 100%. But just don't give me numbers. And you think that algebra, which added letters to numbers, would... No, just not math. No math. I have calculator now. It does math for me. It's very good.
So the next question is, October means Halloween. Do you enjoy scary books and films? And if so, what are some of your favorites? Answer this first for us.
I don't do the spoopy. I am a scaredy cat. I don't do it. So I'm just going to sit here and be the pretty backdrop as Michaela takes it away.
I just bent down to pick up the stack of books we're about to go down and let me learn you guys a thing. The first one I'm currently rereading. I read this brick in high school. This is Stephen King's It. It's the nice, awesome new cover that just came out in prep for the new movie that's going to be coming out. And if you haven't seen the like teaser trailers for that, please go watch them. So good. Yeah, Stephen King's definitely the king of horror. Ha ha ha
Ha ha.
ha ha. The king of horror. This is one of my favorites of his for like the creepiness of it, and with all of the scary clown sightings that we've been having the last couple of weeks here in America. Grab your copy of it and get ready for like a really long read. If you want to know my favorite horror writer, it's Joe Hill, who is actually Stephen King's son. This is Nosferatu. It's my favorite one. I have done a review of that on this channel. I've also probably spoken about it a lot because I care a lot about it. Dude sucks the souls out of children in a car while bringing them to like a weird, twisted Santa's Village Christmas land place.
Happy holidays.
Yep, that one's good. And then my last one is for those people who like psychological horror. I have House of Leaves by Mark C. Danielewski. This is one of the only books that while reading it made me physically uncomfortable. Like it actually triggered my anxiety in a way that I couldn't keep going. I would only be able to read it either in the sunshine at daytime or like in small chunks and bursts. It's like 3 tiers worth of story. The center of it is about a family who moves into a house, and then suddenly the house is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, to the extreme of like a door opens into space that shouldn't be there. Then on the next level out, we have an old man who's done a whole bunch of research on all of these occurrences in this house and the film that the owners made. And his research paper, and on the outside of that we have a young gentleman who is reading said research paper and is leaving annotations on it in the margins. So you get these 3 stories interwoven, creepy, people go crazy, it's fun. Let's just go with fun. If you're looking for films, ladies and gentlemen, the It TV series from, was it the 90s, or I feel like it was late 90s, early 2000s time period-esque. That's a good one. So if you read It, then watch that, then watch the new movie that's going to be coming out, you'll be all set. If you're looking for really good horror, a small indie movie, I think it's Australian, is The Babadook. I believe it's on Netflix, or it was here in the States. I don't know if it still is. Probably, because it's spoopy time. It's Halloween. That one is an allegory for, like, postpartum depression, I believe, and follows a kid and a mother who have issues with each other, and her questioning whether she should kill her child or not. And it manifests itself in this sort of weird monster dude. But it's really scary and good. So if you're looking to actually be scared, then there's that. If you want to watch a movie that both makes fun of horror and is, like, very much paying homage to, like, horror movies and horror video games that have been here in the past, Cabin in the Woods is my favorite. It's very funny. It's got so many things in it that if you are, like, an avid horror fan like me, you could just frame by frame that ending and find so many little things that just make you go, ooh, that detail. So yeah, there's that. Plus it's funny. So if you're, like, not into full-on scare, that might be a good one for you.
No. Still won't watch it. Question 4 is, with November, it's time for bonfire night and fireworks displays. If you're in a different country. That's not what we do in November. We eat turkey.
We do eat turkey.
What's the most exciting book you've read that really kept you gripped?
For me, I read it in one sitting, and I mean, it is super short, but that's Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. It's the first book in the Southern Reach trilogy. This one was kind of creepy, so again, in the horror things, it's very bright yellow. Like, I don't know if you can see the highlighter yellowness of this book, but it's very bright yellow. It follows 4 women scientists as they go into, this place called Area X, and I think 11 expeditions that went before them have never returned. And they're going to see if they can do some science on it and figure out what happened to them. And shit goes down. So, it was really fast-paced. I read it in one sitting, like front cover to back. And just, it was good. It was good.
So my answer for this question, since I don't read a lot of spoopy, psychological thriller kind of thing, and also because I answer all of these, like, off the cuff, the thing that came to mind for me was actually Ta-Nehisi Coates' Between the World and Me. I just listened to this on an audiobook, and I just couldn't stop listening. Listening to him read the book aloud, knowing that he was writing it for his son, and the things that he was explaining, and just the way that he writes, and just putting it all together was just, I can't even explain just, like, the kind of feeling that took over me when I was reading it and listening to it. I was upstairs coloring in the kitchen while I was doing it, and I was like, don't bother me, don't talk to me. Couldn't even text while I was doing it. Usually I'm, like, doing something else. I was just, like, zoned in completely. So definitely worth the read if you haven't read that yet.
Mm-hmm. Question 5 is, what book is your favorite cozy comfy read?
I have the same answer every time a question like this is asked, because Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins is perfect. And every time I need to be reminded that things are going to be okay, I read that book. If you don't know, that is a YA book, and the only YA book that I've mentioned so far, so this is good for me. It's about a girl who moves to Paris and goes to French boarding school, and, you know, meets a guy, Pat meets friends. It's like, the plot sounds very basic, which is why it took me so long to read it, and then I did, and it was so emotionally, personally impactful for me the first time I read it, and every time I read it, just gets more so, oh, so good.
Not a big rereader, but if I wanted something cozy and comfy, I would probably go with something like Saving CC Honeycutt by Beth Hoffman. Beth Hoffman's actually one of my favorite writers, and she's only written 2 books, both of which are probably considered chick lit, or what is the derogatory term of chick lit, in that they follow women and female power and female problems. Saving CC Honeycutt was the first one that I read. I actually read it right before I went away to college. It's about a little girl who ends up moving in with her grandmother and all of the women around her as she sort of spends this summer after like some tragic events happened that forced her into this place. So sad in the beginning, but it's happy and great at the end. So definitely a cozy, comfy thing.
Question 6. Curled up with a good book, what is your hot drink of choice? And somewhere, Taylor is hearing the call of his people and just screaming, tea!
It's tea.
It's also tea for us, in case you were curious.
It's tea.
We both have those cast iron teapots upstairs with like the strainer in it. Mine has koi fish on it.
I have manatees. If we're being specific, especially in autumn, but year-round for me, I like teas that have a lot of spices in them, so cloves and cinnamon. Apple cinnamon tea is my favorite this time of year, but I'll drink chai tea all year round, and like anything that has the word spice in the title, I will drink and be like, yes.
I have a plum spice upstairs you can drink, because I don't actually like spice teas. I'm I'm either drinking fruit tea or I'm drinking black tea, like Earl Grey, stuff like that. I am a huge fan of Earl Grey when I need to pick me up because I don't drink coffee that much.
The final question is, do you have any plans you're looking forward to over the next few months?
You're my plans.
I'm plans.
We will be working retail over the holiday season, so our plans include work. Like the seagulls in Finding Nemo, instead of mine, we say work.
We do both have to finish our Pop Sugar reading challenges, and there's like 2.5 months left for that. Ooh.
I'm not behind.
No.
My Goodreads challenge, too. I'm not behind there either.
I've surpassed my Goodreads challenge, but I also picked a far lower number than she did.
Yeah, you picked 50, I picked 100.
Yeah.
I'm at 75. Or 6 or something.
I'm at 70-something as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The last thing that we will be doing is we're currently having story time, buddy reading The Mysterious Benedict Society by Trenton Lee Stewart. Because I am the kids lead, and I need to talk to kids about books that kids read. And this one looked good, so I took it, and now we are reading it together.
We've been actually taking turns, like actually physically reading it aloud, as opposed to just like reading it in tandem, which is really fun because it allows the snarky comments that you make to yourself as you read to be like, Michaela, that was dumb, or that wasn't funny. Stuff like that. So
or sticky, why?
Hopefully we'll also be doing a review of this when we finish it, because I know we're only like this far in right now, we both definitely have thoughts. This would sometimes be the part of the video where we tag people, but we have been out of the game for so long that, you know what, we don't want to make anybody do this if they don't want to, so we give this an open-ended tag. If you'd like to do this tag and you haven't been tagged already, you can insert your name here, and we won't be sad about it. Please share the tag, share the love, tell us all about your autumn reading. And we will hopefully be back very soon. At the very least, Let Me In will happen, unfortunately, with Taylor. Ugh. Anyways, and that happens. We have a bunch of books that we want to read together to finish off our Pop Sugar challenges. So yeah, you can look forward to that. Thanks, guys. Bye.